So this today is Christoph Nitsch.
Thank you. When I saw Heino Falke's picture of the Milky Way, I could not help but think of Micanis. That's the same sky you see there at night. Beautiful, magical, but also poor, isolated. These words can well describe Micanis. And throughout the past 5 years, my team has been working towards improving the living conditions for those families who live there. And I can say full of joy that by the end of this day, over 150 families will have cooked their meals on improved, clean cook stoves instead of the open wood fires that used to contaminate these families' huts. Now, what sense does it make to replace cook stoves? Aren't there more pressing issues? World hunger, sanitation. Well, in fact, the smoke from one of these open wood fires has the same health impact as smoking a pack of cigarettes a day for each member of a family. And annually, over 4.6 million people are killed by indoor cooking fires. Now, by the end of this year, not only will 150 families have access to clean cooking technologies in Micanis, but also a further 150 families will have joined the effort towards making their homes safer and healthier places to live in. In fact, this week, 40 more families are building such cook stoves within their homes. And many of these families, by the end of this year, will also be drinking purified water. They will have access to basic sanitation around their homes, and they may have installed solar lighting within their huts. Now, the story I want to tell today is I want to share my experiences of the boldness I have encountered in the lives and actions of the people I work with in Bolivia. Is it bold for a group of university students from Aachen to believe to be able to contribute to change on the other side of the globe? Perhaps slightly, but it would be naive to believe that it is our sole efforts that drive this change. This would be presumptuous. No, the story I want to tell today is a story of being bold by emboldening others. So far, it's been our bravest act to let go, and doing so by letting go of the responsibility to implement community change measures and giving this responsibility into the hands of the communities themselves. Behind every act we take and every decision we make, it is our key principle to empower Bolivians to create the change they need. A top-down approach shall never be part of our philosophy. And let me just tell you one short story out of many of what such a top-down approach in development cooperation may lead to. In a community not far from where we work, just several years ago, a large international institution decided to build toilets. Inherently a great cause, as toilets will prevent the spreading of many serious, fatal diseases and ultimately save lives. However, not once in the process of planning and building these toilets was the local community consulted. And nobody, until it was too late, knew that the community was planning to relocate. Now the community is long gone. The toilets persist. Locals call this place El Cementerio de los Baños, the toilet graveyard. Let's contrast this by looking at what involving communities can look like. Our work in Micanis started 5 years ago with Lucas, Marcus, and Isa sitting in the grass in front of a village church and elaborating on the community's problems together with the men and women from the community. What were the issues they wanted to change about their community? Well, many of these women and men could not read or write or do math. So we used little pictures and lentils for everybody to be able to contribute. Indoor smoke was seen as one big problem. So was water scarcity. And what did we do next? Did we come back and solve these problems? No. We took these problems to the students of a local vocational school. And together with their teacher and a little of our help, they worked out a solution for the people of Takakopa, this indigenous community. And by the end of their course, they came back to Takakopa and built the first smoke-free cook stoves in Micanis. Now we still keep repeating this project twice a year with bright, young, future technicians from 2 vocational schools in Bolivia. But what happens once the students leave the communities? What fascinated us was to see how communities that had not experienced any significant change throughout the past centuries, all of a sudden were showing this unquenchable thirst to move on. Just imagine the mayor of this community, Takakopa. No running water, no electricity, no access to sanitation, just these basic clay huts. Him coming up to you and asking you if you could help out with a design on how the community could build showers for themselves. Clean cook stoves are just one building block in a solution towards a healthier and safer living environment. And we knew we could not stop there. And we asked ourselves, why not teach the people from the communities themselves? Let's make them experts. Experts in building clean cook stoves, experts in building toilets, in water purification and solar lighting. Let's make them teachers of hygiene principles. First, we had to ask ourselves, what makes an expert? We found 3 traits: competence, conviction, and boldness. An expert is competent. Well, that is fairly trivial. He knows exactly what he's doing. Now, secondly, an expert is convinced about what he's doing. And what does conviction mean in this context? One of these experts found the right words during one of our last workshops in November. How can I persuade my neighbor to build a clean cook stove if my wife keeps cooking on an open wood cooking fire herself? And how can I teach my children to wash their hands before meals if I keep forgetting myself? Thirdly, an expert is bold. By the end of this year, our team in Micanis will have grown to 35 women and men. Young mayors, mothers, grandfathers, farmers, all of whom have committed to changing the health and safety conditions within their home communities. They will have built clean cook stoves. Others again will already have installed toilets within their communities or brought solar lighting and water filtration to their home communities. But does the path end there? We asked them this, and their response: teach us how to weld these chimneys ourselves. Or teach us about electrical installations. Others again wanted to learn about plumbing. Men and women, some of whom had not received a minute of formal education in their lifetime, all of a sudden were showing this eagerness to learn for the sake of improving their lives and the lives of those around them. This, ladies and gentlemen, is boldness. And I long for the day that these women and men of Micanis will look back at their work full of joy at what they have been able to change in their communities, making Micanis a place full of promises for a better and healthier future for their daughters, sons, and grandchildren. And I hope not to be around on that day to shake their hands. I say that with a tear in one eye and a smile on the other. For I know that with each bit of responsibility I give out of my hands, that is one step towards making them the experts. Well, finally, we asked these men and women what they wanted to be called. You must know, in Bolivia, for a good job, to be a good job, it needs a good job title. They came up with Yachachkuna. In their native language, Quechua, those who know. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Christoph. That is quite a